For our tutorial today, we'll be showing you how to access Google Colab from a web browser. First, you're going to start at your web browser and search Google Colab. So you're going to start with Welcome to Collaboratory, the first one that pops up. And so here it's going to pull you up to your recent notebooks, and there's going to be some options of how to access your notebooks through Google Drive, GitHub, or an uploaded one. So come to Google Drive and do new notebook, and you might have to attach your Gmail or your Google account to this to be able to access it. And so here this is going to be our first notebook for Google Colab. So you have your cell here, and then this is the play button to run the cell. And you're going to have your title up here, so you can change this to whatever you'd like. Python tutorial. And so just to give you a quick overview of how this page works, so we have our file button. So here we have our new notebook, open notebook. You can upload a notebook, move it to trash, and here's where you can save this notebook within Google Drive, or you can save a copy into GitHub. Save here, or you can download the file as a .ipynb straight to your laptop locally, or print as well. And then, so here we can add either a code cell or a text cell, and within the text cell or the code cell, you can move them up and down. Here we go. And so the code cells are gonna have this little play button and a bracket, and the text cells are gonna look like this. So you can type within the text cell title and okay. So there we go. There it is. Additionally, within each cell, you can remove the cell by clicking this trash can. So here, you can cut a cell, copy a cell, or select a cell, and you can also use the general commands of Command X or Command V to copy and paste cells. And then here, over here on the left, we're going to have this tab for the table of contents. You can search within the notebook itself, deal with the variables as well, and then here are the files. So here's some sample data. It's within Google Colab, but ignore that for now. So here you can upload a file, access one through Google Drive, and this is important here because you can store files locally like within this notebook. And so when you drag and drop a file to here or upload one with this button, then you can access it through the code that you implement here. So this is where you can have your data to access from here. And then additionally, if you want to share your notebook, you come to the share button right here. And here you can change the access from restricted to anyone with the link, and then copy the link, and now you can paste this into whichever messaging site you'd like and share it with your team members. Also, you can come over here to the settings gear button and come down to GitHub, and this is where you can connect your Google Drive, Google Colab to GitHub, so then you could save files within GitHub. And that's the end of the tutorial. To continue our Python tutorial, here we have Google Colab again, and this is going to be in dark mode, as you can see. For the first 3 steps, those were covered previously, so you already know how to get access to Google Colab. We just created a new notebook, and I gave you a quick overview of the interface and the platform itself. But here we'll do a little quick run through now that we have material here to look at. So we come over here to the table of contents. In the table of contents, you can see the 12 steps to our tutorial, and you can toggle between steps and also add sections or decrease sections. And then here again is the data where we'll actually be dealing with our sample data. Okay, so now to close that. Okay, so now that we have those first 3 steps done, let's start with step 4. So writing our first chunk of Python code. So here to output code, unlike an R, we're going to put print and run this. And there we go. So hello business analytics. And then step 5, basic Python syntax, variables and types. So there's, as an R, there's multiple types of things that you can assign to variables. And so here we have a numerical variable that's going to be assigned to sales using the equal operator. So that's going to be different than the little caret that you use in R. So we run that, and that's going to give us 1,000. And this 1,000 is going to be an integer. If it had a decimal and it was 0.0, it would be a float. And now down here, we would be assigning a character value known as a string or a string literal, and then printing it in the same manner as we did above, but now it's assigned to the variable sentence. So for step 6, now we're going to show you how to do lists. So a list is going to be governed here by, we have 4 integer values within the brackets, and they're separated by commas assigned to the variable quarterly sales. Also, a quick tip is if you double click, you can get the whole variable at once. So the quarterly sales is going to be a list containing 4 integer values, and then we're going to print that out. And it's got all 4 in there. So next, we're going to show you how to do a for loop. So we're going to start off by assigning 0 or nothing to this variable total sales. So this is an empty variable. So we declare the empty variable, and then in our for loop, this is the for loop right there. So you start the for loop by saying for, and then x in quarterly sales. And so with quarterly sales, we're referring to the variable we just created with this string in it. So it's going to have those 4 values in it. And so we're saying for x in quarterly sales. So for how many values there are in quarterly sales, we're going to perform this operation. And so we're going to take this empty variable, and we're going to add x to it. And x is basically going to be a proxy for the first, then the second, then the third, and the 4th value in quarterly sales. And so just a quick explanation of this operator. So the plus equal operator adds the values of sales to the total sales variable in each iteration. So it's going to start off with nothing in it, and then it's going to add 250 to 0, and then assign that to the variable total sales. So it just adds it and then assigns it to that variable at the same time. So you're going to add and assign 250, then 300, 200, 250, and what's going to come out? 1,000. And then you print the new variable total sales, which is the accumulation of all 4 of those values added and assigned to total sales. So here for step 8, we're going to go through the basics of functions within Python. So first, here's an example of a normal calculation that you could make within a Python cell that is not within a function. So here we're just going to take the average of quarterly sales. So here we go. So the average is just going to be the sum of quarterly sales divided by the length. And so the length is going to be, 4 because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to print this average, and it should be 250. There we are. And so here now, if we were to do that within a function, here are the basic bones of a function in Python. So to define a function, you start with def, similar to how you did with a for loop. And then you're going to define the function name. And the function name is going to go here. And then you're going to have the parameters within that function. So this is where, so for example, down here, when you put in quarterly sales, that's going to be the input. These are basically going to be the inputs. And then the bulk of your code is going to be here in the middle, and then you're going to return the result. So this is not a functioning piece of code. So here, we're going to define a function called average sales and sales list. You could replace this with anything. This could be x, for example. And so we're going to say define this function called average sales with input x and return the sum of x divided by the length of x. So here we're going to take our new function, average sales, and input quarterly sales to where X is. We're going to get 250. And so now we have a function called average sales that we can apply to whatever variables we want. So next, for step 9, importing libraries, the most important library that you're going to be using within Python is going to be pandas. Pandas is going to be crucial for working with data frames and data, which you're going to be using a lot in this course and for the rest of the program. So first off, you start by typing in pip install pandas, and this is going to be what you're going to use to install any library, but I've already installed it, so let's tag that. Also, to type in comments in the code, you can type it in here. So you're going to use the hashtag to denote what is text versus what is code. And so when you import pandas, usually you import it as an alias. So this is just going to be an abbreviation so that you can refer to pandas without having to type out pandas fully. So now next, we're going to create our first data frame. So we're going to assign data. So within these brackets, we're going to put quarter and sales. And so these are going to be the names of the columns within one quotation. And we're going to assign it Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 in a string. Separate that by a comma. And then with sales, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to assign it 4 numerical integer values, as you can see here. And you can see here. And to denote what's going to be with under that column name, use the colon. So now that's all stored within data. The data is not yet a data frame. This is just going to be a list. And so to create a data frame, we're going to use pandas. So we're going to call pandas, separate it by a period, and we're going to use the function data frame to convert this list data into a data frame. See how it's just two items there, and now data frame is now data frame with shape 4, 2. So now to print out that data frame, there we go. Now you can see this is your first data frame. So here for step 10, we're going to be reading in data from files. And so we're going to start by showing you how to read in an Excel and a CSV file. So here we're going to be assigning 2 data, a data set, and it's going to be a .csv file. So we're going to refer to pandas again here, period, and then we're going to call the function read_csv. And then this is where we're going to input our path within a single quotation. And so here to refer, we're going to come back over here to our files. And so here we have our sample data. And then within sample data, we have these 5 sample data sets. And so we're going to start by saying content, and this is going to show you that it's referring to within your local Google Drive. And you're going to start the path with sample data, and then under sample data, you're going to separate that by a forward slash to type in California housing train.csv. That's going to refer to this one right here. And you can also just do this too. And then there's the path. So now we're going to print data, but what we're going to do is we're just going to print the first few rows, and that's going to be this function .head. So data.head, and there it is. And so now you can see all of the column names and some values, the first 4 rows of values under each column. So now to refer to an Excel file, here we're going to assign it to data as well, and we're just going to do pd.readExcel instead of CSV. And here's where I'm going to show you how to upload your own data. So we're going to come here to this button, and this is my desktop, and we're going to do data.xlsx. And so now that's uploaded locally onto Google Drive, and we're going to run this. And so within data, it looks like we have some house information, rent, bed, bath, square feet, and that's what the columns are going to look like. And so that's how you read in an Excel file. So finally, for step 11 here, we're going to do a basic data visualization to sum up everything we've done today. So First, we're going to import a new library called matplotlib.pyplot, and we're going to refer to that alias as PLT. That's going to be our abbreviation that we're going to use here, here, and here. And again, to install this, you would do pip space install space and then matplotlib. So here we're going to have, we're going to refer to our matplotlib and call a bar plot function. So it's just going to be bar. And then we're going to say our X is going to be quarter and our Y is going to be sales. And so here, just to show you what it's going to look like. Here we are. So it's going to refer to this column right here for the X. So that's the first one's X, and then the second one's going to be Y, sales. There we are. And so that would just put this here and the values within here, but it wouldn't do the titles. So to manually enter the titles, we're going to call X label and write quarter, and do the same for Y label and do sales, and again the same for title. And then we're just going to put in plt.show, and that's how it's going to output it. And there we go. So that's how you're going to visualize that data frame that we made. And the next step would be just to save and share your notebook. So file and save, and it shows right here when it's saving or if it's auto-saved. And once this all changes saved, you're good to go. And share, and now you can copy your link and send it to your group members. And that's all.